Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rosslyn Hill Chapel, a spiritual home for open minds. I'm Andrew Appleyard, Chair of the Board of this Unitarian spiritual community. Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, there's a place for you here in our spiritual community. Whatever your race, gender, sexuality, class, age, physical and mental capability, we welcome you all in the spirit of love. Today, we're in our spiritual home, Rosslyn Hall, the site of the first meetings of our congregation over 330 years ago. We'll be exploring a little of the roots of this historical setting, and we'll hear music from that period too. At the same time, our creche for children aged 2 to 5 and a children's program, Bright Lights for older children, has moved to the cottages. Babies under 2 are also welcome in the creche if accompanied by an adult. Children begin with us and we sing them out after the time for all ages. And since we've taken over their play space, they will enjoy their activities in the basement cottage too. You are all welcome here.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome from me. I'm Reverend Kate Dean, serving as the minister for this wonderful community. Now, we will usually begin with lighting our chalice, but I've just checked and there don't seem to be any matches here. So I'm just going to rush around. Oh, hang on a minute. I think I've found some at the back. Here we go. So we're going to start by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our free and questioning faith. List congregations for over a century. Love is the doctrine of this chapel. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, in the hope that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. This is our great covenant, one with another and with our God. I will light a second candle, our new peace candle, for all of those suffering in war situations around the world, especially those in the Middle East, in Ukraine, in Sudan, and so many other places. We think too of those suffering from natural disasters, especially those in Venezuela. Through our thoughts and our actions, may we all hope to walk a path to peace. I now invite Amira to give our notices.
I am Amira, representing our new welcome team today. Just a bit closer. Okay. If you're a newcomer or have any questions about the chapel, please come and say hello to me after the service. Before we greet each other, I have some announcements. Please do join us for refreshments served from the kitchen after the service. If you're watching at home, hello to you. You can join the virtual side aisle at midday. The Zoom link was in the weekly email, and you can find it via the link in the YouTube description. Here is our bookcase library, which is renamed Margaret's Library, in memory of our treasured friend, and chapel elder Margaret Perry. It is available every Sunday, where you can borrow books about Unitarianism and other world religions and philosophies too. If you wish to borrow a book, please write your details in the blue book before removing it. After the service at 12:30 p.m., our Great Move volunteers will gather to help with the clearing of the chapel ahead of the heating installation project. You're welcome to join us. Pizza will be provided for enthusiastic helpers. At 6 p.m. this evening, we have our regular 30-minute mindfulness. Then at 7 p.m., we offer Soul Fuel, a spiritual open mic. You can find information about these and all our activities in your service sheet and on our website. We come together each Sunday, and we like to get to know each other in this spiritual community. So now, please turn to someone near you, say your name, and welcome them to chapel this morning. Listen out for the music, which will be your signal that this time of speaking has ended.
Thank you, everyone. It's lovely to hear the bubble of conversation still happens in this place as well as our other place. And I do hope we can continue these conversations after the service. Just a note, we do have a loop system, so if anyone is using that kind of technology, you can switch to loop if that helps you with the hearing. We're now going to sing our first hymn. It's in your purple hymn book, number 62, Here We Have Gathered. And as is our custom, we'll listen to the introduction and then rise as you're able to sing hymn number 62. to arrest him. So one day, after he'd finished speaking in the chapel, the soldiers arrived. Now back then, the ladies would all wear these big dresses with big wide skirts. And do you know what happened? They formed a circle around the minister with their big wide skirts. Now, their large dresses made it quite difficult for the soldiers to approach him, and they didn't really want to kind of push the ladies out of the way. So in that way, they saved their minister from being carted off by the soldiers. But it just goes to show that we have those brave people to thank, that we have the freedom to meet here and to have our own thoughts, our open minds, and our loving hearts and our helping hands. Because if they didn't, I invite you now into a time of prayer and meditation. We come together in fellowship each Sunday with hearts full of joy and full of concern. We think especially of those who are suffering health effects in the current heat wave. And we think of the joyful union of Holly and Jacob, chapel members who got married yesterday. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to say their name aloud in the coming moments of stillness, so that we may also hold them in our prayers. Buildings. And today being the first Sunday of July, we have a new good cause, and that is the Disaster and Emergencies Commission's Middle East Emergency Appeal. So the collection will now be taken.
Book of the chapel, which was written in 1914 by Henry Sharp. And this is a short history of the old chapel building, which is where we are today. This building was formerly known as the Meeting House or Chapel on Red Lion, now Rosslyn Hill. It was the place of worship of the Presbyterian congregation at Hampstead, whose successors now assemble in Rosslyn Hill Chapel, Pilgrim's Lane. The original meeting house and the Catholic Church as well, at that stage. The first known minister was Reverend Thomas Woodcock, and the last service was held in the old building on the 1st of June 1862, led by the long-serving minister, Dr. Thomas Sadler. After the congregation moved to the new chapel building, the old building, now Rosslyn Hall, became available for other uses and the concepts and promises of the Book of Grace. And it was to me a real gratification to find that in the new building, the trees will look upon us at our worship.
Let us sing our next hymn. The words are inside your service sheet. Let love continue long. Beyond ourselves. Of the universe. The miracle of creation and the grace of the ultimate spirit. In this time of prayer, let us give thanks for our community and our many gifts by naming our blessings quietly to ourselves in these moments of stillness. recognizing our woes and faults. Let us sit quietly with those parts of ourselves which cause us discomfort, with a spirit of gentle understanding and forgiveness. Spirit of the divine self, we open up our hearts to listen to the wisdom of the still small voice that may speak in these quiet moments. God of our hearts, let this small act of worship send a ripple of loving kindness from this place to our loved ones, our acquaintances, and out to the wider world. O God, may we become the embodiment of divine love. Blessed be, and Amen. Well done on the taper training. I think we had a 98% success rate. As you have heard, we are meeting in our original chapel, a space that served as the spiritual gathering place for this congregation for over a century before the move to our new chapel in 1862. Today, as the new building undergoes exciting improvements and renovations, we are called back to our foundations. Being here gives us an opportunity to sit in the seats of our ancestors. Not literally, we've got lovely new blue seats, but sitting in the seat of our ancestors where we are creating sacred space, perhaps for the first time in over 160 years. This place, now known as Rosslyn Hall, was once the meeting house on Red Lion Hill. It is the place that saw the ministry of Dr. Thomas Sadler and witnessed the growing confidence of a group that had spent centuries in the shadows. Earlier in the service, I shared a story of the Sanctuary of the Skirts, that indomitable circle of women in the 17th century who used their presence, their wide dresses, to shield their minister from arrest. While that story took place in the north of England, its spirit is woven into our own history too. A spirit of protection for those in need, and of quiet dissent in the face of dogma. It is the hallmark of a community that stands together when the rest of the world seems uncertain, so it feels like a good time to be calling back to those days. To understand why being in this place matters, we must look back to 1692, the earliest known date of our public worship. This was during the reign of King William III, a time following the Act of Toleration that finally allowed dissenters the freedom to worship publicly, though still with significant restrictions. My predecessor, Reverend Jim Robinson, used to say that they met secretly in a barn, which was not quite true, but they were certainly tucked away. They had to still be careful. So our congregation began as a dissenters' meeting in the home of Isaac and Rebecca Honeywood. As we heard, Isaac Honeywood's stables adjoined this site, and he was the one to build the original meeting house on this site. The Honeywoods were children of staunch Presbyterians, and it is from this English Presbyterian tradition that we draw our roots. Many Unitarian congregations have their roots in that English Presbyterian tradition. In those early days, the congregation had to maintain a low profile, even after the Act of Toleration. Local clergy often opposed the licensing of public buildings for dissenters, and because of this, many meetings were registered in private houses like the Honeywoods' home. There is a fascinating, almost rowdy side to our early history as well. The title of our chapel's main history book, some of you will have seen it, a big green book. It's called Religious Devils of Hampstead, and it comes from a 1900 ballad. It refers to strangers, many of them wealthy city merchants and lawyers, who had fenced in the wells of Hampstead Heath. These same individuals founded the Hampstead Wells charity to alleviate local poverty in the village. And they were the very same people who founded the dissenters' meeting that would eventually become this congregation. We were, from the start, it seems, a group that cared as much about the health and welfare of our neighbours as we did the freedom of our own faith. As we sit here today, we are inhabiting the moment just before the great leap leap over to the new chapel. On the 1st of June, 1862, Dr. Thomas Sadler led the final service in this building. And in that moving farewell, we heard Andrew read the words earlier. He spoke about the new chapel being built and how he didn't want it to be a kind of grand, imposing cathedral. He hoped that it would remain a village church, and that it would keep its simplicity and its quiet. And I love the way that he so delighted in the fact that the new building, the trees will look in upon us on our worship. 4 days later, on Thursday, the 5th of June, 1862, the first service was held in the new chapel. And that's why we celebrate our anniversary service and welcome new members on the Sunday closest to that date. The guest preacher for that historic occasion was Reverend Dr. James Martineau, a well-known and influential 19th century theologian. Although he didn't like pagans, so I've got mixed feelings about him. Martineau's presence that day was significant because he represented a shift in our own faith, a shift towards a belief motivated by an enlightened conscience within ourselves, rather than just trading biblical texts and insults, probably, between Unitarians and those who believed in the Trinity. Martineau's conviction was that we should not be tied down by any one label, but should be free to follow truth wherever it leads. While men like Sadler and Martineau were the voices from the pulpit, it was often the women of Hampstead who were the engine of our administration and had national influence as well. For centuries, dissenting chapels were dominated by men, but in the 19th century, as it turned to the 20th, there was a nexus of Unitarian activity which began to form right here in North London. Two names particularly stand out as pioneers of this era: Lucy Taggart and Helen Brooke Herford, both of whom were devoted members of this chapel. Lucy Taggart was the prime mover behind the Central Postal Mission, the first organised outreach effort to connect seekers with Unitarian churches. And Helen Brooke Herford was a tireless worker on national committees and was a key figure in founding the Women's League in 1909. There are so many renowned women in our movement that I think that they really deserve a separate service, so that's something to plan for the future. Around the time that our new chapel was built, Hampstead Heath was under threat from development. When a house was built at the top of the heath, sparking fears of further construction, the Hampstead Heath Protection Fund was established. 5 members of our congregation were amongst the first subscribers. And if you're wondering why the Heath feels a bit more wild than other London parks, it's because one of our members, the barrister Philip Hemery Le Breton, became the chairman of the Metropolitan Parks Committee, and he was the one who suggested that the Heath should be managed by judicious neglect. So if a tree falls down, as long as it's not bothering anyone, we just leave it there. And let's not bother about any maps to help people find their way through as well. Thanks to the foresight and legal persistence of these chapel members, the Heath was saved, and our simple wooden chalice here was made from a piece from a fallen beech tree from the Heath, and it can serve as a reminder of this legacy of social action that we hold. In moving back to this old hall, while our other home is being renewed, we are returning to the source. And perhaps this new location will give us a new perspective. as we look at these older walls, let us remember that they once heard the voices of those who fought for our right to exist. Being here can remind us that we are the good ancestors of the future. We are the good ancestors of the future. And so we are called to continue this work, the work of our forebears, by spreading kindness and working for justice in our own time. Blessed be. We're going to sing our final hymn now. It's in your purple hymn book, hymn number 11, Blessed Spirit of My Life, hymn number 11. Thank you to John for the wonderful music, memories of 1692 and the music they would have heard at that time. Thank you to all of our helpers, especially everyone who's already helped to kind of shift us across to the hall. Refreshments will be served through there in the kitchen, so please do stay for a cup of tea and fellowship. And those who are staying for the volunteering, that will start at 12:30. Just look out for Angela and Katie and Nina, who will be directing you this afternoon. Thank you, everyone.